Hello, everybody. This is Football Psych, and I'm Coach Mad Mike.
This one, Sarge! Go for it!
Oh, and it's good old Shaq.
Good old Shaq. Hey, it's great to have everybody on board, man. And you know what? I'm really excited about tonight's show because we got so much to cover. Week one preseason is in the bag. We got a lot to talk about with our beloved Washington Redskins. And let me tell you, they're never short of news. This is year long. This is year round, and we're going to have a whole lot to talk about tonight. So, anyway, we've been kind of messing around with the screen a little bit. So, if we have some technical difficulties, we're just going to roll with it. All right. So, hey, any opening things that you want to talk about, Large Sarge, tonight?
Well, let's just say I did my coach's film homework, and yeah, I actually do have some stuff to talk about. Mostly, I'll tell you where I was keying in. I was keying in on the second and third string offensive line. I was keying in on the defensive backs. Mostly, Sandra Still. Wanted to see what he was worth, right? Mm-hmm. And then I was looking at depth in second and third string on the O-line and where do they have muck-ups and things like that. So I actually have some really good data on some stuff that I saw that I think is interesting. And then I have some counterpoint to the first string guys that were on. So, but a lot of them didn't play.
All right. So, Shaq, any main things that you keyed on this week?
Oh yeah, Emmanuel Forbes. Emmanuel Forbes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Emmanuel Forbes. We're going to get to it.
Hey, man, we're going to get to him.
He was getting burnt in the workouts. You know, in the game he was average at best. Definitely do want to get to him. Ben Sinnott looked really, really good. And kudos to the first team offense. The first team offense looked good. I give them their props.
They moved the ball.
They moved the ball. They made it look effortless. So yeah, there's things that I want to talk about. And then there was actually good balance on the first team offensive line. So yeah.
All right. Well, as you guys know, I mean, not that wins and losses count in preseason because they absolutely don't. But but we're going to talk about a lot of things, and I'm very interested in your guys' comments on what you thought about the game. I was traveling, so I could not see the whole game, but I have been trying to get every snippet of every bit of film I possibly could get on this game. I found some deep. I almost got an entire game footage aspect of that. So I got that. I got some highlight films that we're going to talk about, some good takeaways, and then some analysis that I have. And I know you guys looked at things. Shaq, you talked about Emmanuel Forbes. I know Large Sarge, you talked about a lot of stuff about second and third string offensive line and DBs.
We're going to talk about
we got so much to talk about.
We're going to talk about Mr. Allegretti.
Yeah. Well, he's one. That's another one. I was about to say, Allegretti. And then one more thing that I want to throw in there as well. Kingsbury's play call.
Okay.
It was like it was like 70-30. Like he didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think we pounded the ball on the ground like we're supposed to.
Yeah.
So
all right. So one of the things that I started off with is the players that were inactive, and I find this particular thing to be pretty interesting because of the choices that we made of who was going to dress for this game and who wasn't. And the first thing that kind of popped out to me was, okay, I get it. A whole lot of defensive starters, you want to bubble wrap them a little bit. So in the first preseason, not to see guys like Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, I'm fine with that. Not to see Bobby Wagner, I'm fine with that. I'm a little shocked on holding out Dante Fowler. I thought he probably should have had some playing time.
Yeah.
Especially, I know Johnny Newton's still kind of recovering, so I'm okay with that. But to hold out 3 offensive tackles, Andrew Wiley, Brandon Coleman, and Cornelius Lucas, is a shock to me. Why?
Yes. I was surprised at that as well. And I'm gonna tell you one player that did look good. And since we're bringing up the inactives, somebody that was active look good. Frankie Louvu looked good. He looked Frankie Louvu looked good.
But if he didn't play, I would have been okay with that.
He was on a tackle for a loss with Sandra still, which I want to talk about.
Ooh, see? Oh man, I'm glad football is back. Yes,
I'm glad football is back too.
Yeah, Louisville was in the mix.
Yeah, Louisville was in the mix.
but here's a point that I'm going to make. Like, if you're going to run your first team offense, even if it's for a series, I was a little nervous to see that you're both starting left tackle or whoever that's going to be, if it's Lucas or it's Coleman, and your starting right tackle Wiley are not dressing for the game.
What the heck are they doing, Coach?
It's a little scary.
With your starting future franchise quarterback behind the helm, your starting linemen are not playing. I mean, I don't know what
the left tackle,
especially the left tackle, and we've identified that as a weakness since I know at least since I've been on the show.
That's right. It's been months now. It's been months we've been talking about this, and we know the Washington Commanders watches our show, and they still haven't corrected it. Right? So, like, I just don't get it.
Quinn.
Dan Quinn, Aaron Peters, I know you're watching. Stop the nonsense. Sign the guys that you need to. Play the guys that you need to. Let's make some decisions that make sense. Okay.
All right. So taking that into account, Coach Mad Mike and Shaq, taking that into account, there was a gentleman. Hold a sec. Large Star's getting a little older here. There was a gentleman, number 67, offensive guard, Mr. Allegretti.
Yep.
And Mr. Allegretti had a couple of choice mess ups at left guard, especially down in the end zone. Went off sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's supposedly our starter.
And exactly. And he missed a block, which caused a sack.
Which caused a sack.
He missed that block badly.
Badly.
And I'm like, who is this Allegretti spaghetti? Get him off the field. He's not ready to start.
He's our starting left guard. We don't have anybody else.
We don't have nobody else.
Bad.
And I'm gonna tell you right this, Lars Sarge. Not only that, right? Not only that. I guess they're trying to figure it out. But if you notice, they were swapping those guys around on the offensive line in the game. Tackles were playing guards were playing tackles. Only position that didn't move was the center position. So they're trying to figure it out. Made the best five win.
Yep. And I'll tell you, right before the half, when they pulled Allegretti out, he pulled up with a gimp off a play that went to the right side where he wasn't involved. He moved through the defensive line. They came up and he was kind of like, gimping. I'm like, oh boy.
Here we go.
Who is this
so
guy?
if you guys have questions, comments, we want to interact with you. So go ahead and put your comments in the comments section. We want to be able to hear from you like right away. So if you have comments about the game, the most important part about this, what makes us different from other shows, is we actually really want to hear from you, from you guys, and we want to interact with you on this show. So get your fingers working and let's talk about what you saw.
Hey, shout out to Jim Shahan in Texas. First time on the channel. Woo!
Woo! Welcome.
That's good.
He's
all right. Welcome, Jim.
Old guard
Appreciate
guy
you. Appreciate your support.
Jim was one of our he's one of our old guard brethren. So he's an Army guy too, Shaq.
Oh, okay.
Go on it.
All
right.
So I was really the overall sense that I got on the offensive line was meh.
Yeah,
we'll get into it a little bit more because I think that there are some things to kind of look at. We're definitely going to look at some film here in just a little bit. One of the things I kind of want to go over is Pro Football Focus is one of those that I kind of follow a little bit because they grade players out. And they kind of came up with their top 5 guys that graded out very well. The criteria is you had to have at least be in on at least 10 plays for them to grade you. And they felt like the star of the game was De'Ami Brown.
I'm gonna tell you why. Well, not only was it the long ball that he caught from Jaden Daniels, but he is actually fighting to be in that starting lineup. Yeah. Like right now, because I don't think he's on the bubble anymore because of the way he's been performing in practice, working on his route running, stuff like that. I don't think he's on a bubble anymore. But right now, he is fighting. He's seen Dax Milne get cut. He sees them talking to Martavis Bryant. He sees them looking at Michael Thomas. He sees them looking at Juju Smith-Schuster. He sees them looking at other receivers. So that means there's a deficit in that position.
They even considered Brandon Ayuk for a moment there.
Exactly. So that means in Kingsbury's eyes, in Dan Quinn's eyes, there's a deficit in that position. So he is fighting right now to prove to them that this is his home, this is where he wants to be, and he's a threat.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I would agree with that assessment too. That De'Ami Brown is not necessarily on the roster bubble anymore. I tell you, I've been following him quite a lot this offseason. I followed a lot of his training and his workout stuff. I mean, he knew from the beginning of OTAs that he was going to be in a fight for a job. And I think he's overcome that, like to your point there, Shaq. But they don't line him out wide, which was a shock to me because I thought that they would put him more in a slot kind of position. They moved him out wide and they put Jahan Dotson in the slot for 55% of the plays when he was on the field.
Well, if you think about this though, Jahan Dotson is a smaller guy. He's a smaller guy, quicker guy, craftier guy, Wes Worker kind of guy, just like Luke McCaffrey, right? So they're going to play him on the inside for those little slick, crafty plays. Is he a fast guy? Yes, but I think between them two, De'Ami may be the faster receiver. So why not put him outside?
He flashed some speed down that sideline, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Woo! That's what I'm saying. So and for him, for the thing with De'Ami Brown, right? And I'll say this because I criticize our receiving core. I think we have the third best receiving core in the NFC East. So for him to be struggling for a roster spot, that got to be weighing heavy on him when we have the third best receiving core in the NFC East out of 4 teams. So that has to weigh on him heavy because Jahan Dotson haven't proven himself. We don't have a solid third. You know, that Luke McCaffrey is yet to step on the field and show us anything. We got Ben Sinnott is here to help, but the only rock we have right now is Terry McLaurin. So they got to weigh down heavy on him.
I think it did, and I think he's going to try. I mean, again, there's one thing that I don't try to do on week 1 of preseason, and that's draw any real conclusions, right? Because that could be a fool's gold kind of error kind of thing to make, right? Yeah. So one of the things that you got to do is you got to take everything with a grain of salt. What you want to do is you want to see progress, and as long as you're seeing progress with the player, you're like, okay, now let's see you do it again. And the next preseason game is really, now that we're in the 3-game format of preseason instead of 4, the second preseason game is really the dress rehearsal. And so we get a chance to see starters play at least the first half, if not well into the third quarter. And then you start seeing guys start swapping out from there. And by the third preseason game, you're not going to see starters at all. So, and so I'm really interested to see who gets the nod. Does De'Ami Brown get the nod in the starting lineup next week? It'll be interesting to see.
Very interesting.
I can tell you another receiver that looked really, really good, but I know he's concrete on the special teams. But Olamide has looked good as well. He did. He looked good on the offense. Playing with Jeff Driscoll and Sam Hartman, he looked good.
Yeah, and Olamide, as you could tell on here, he had the second best grade on the day. Now, that one you got to take it with a grain of salt too, because he didn't really play with starters in that one series drive. So, you can consider it almost garbage time a little bit. You want to see him get out there and do it and work processes, work routes, see how he looks like on film. But to grade out high like that, you got to take that one a little bit with a grain of salt. But to see that he stepped up, he's making a case, right? I want to be one of the 5 or 6 receivers that we keep.
Yeah. You know who else? And I know we're talking about receivers right now, but you know who else on the offense I think look pretty decent. I think he would be a hard-nosed option. McNichols. McNichols looked actually pretty good toting the rock. He took the majority of the carries in the game. Yeah. So he took more carries than Chris Rodriguez and everybody. But since we're talking about offensive players,
and he had leg and he had good read and he had punch power through the line. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, but as far as De'Ami Brown and the receiver core like Zacchaeus, I think it's still a fight for De'Ami Brown. Zacchaeus is going to be there. He's going to be. I think because he's a special teams guy. It wouldn't surprise me if with Luke McCaffrey and if we bring in Martavis Bryant, it wouldn't surprise me if De'Ami Brown was on the practice squad going into the season.
Yeah. Now McCaffrey,
I mean, we'll see because we'll keep 5 or 6 guys, and you get past Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson's going to be there, right? You can say Luke McCaffrey's going to be there. De'Ami Brown's maybe it. And then now you have, Zacchaeus. Maybe that's the 5, right? Is there another one that sneaks in and we carry a 6-1 or because there's a couple other guys there that are scrapping, right? We have 12 receivers on the roster right now.
Yeah.
But we typically will, all NFL teams typically will either carry 5 or 6 at the max.
Yep.
Right. And the 6th guy is usually a hardcore special teamer. And I don't know if we have that guy. People will say Jamison Crowder. Well, I don't know. I don't think we're going to waste the slot on that this year. We'll see.
I don't think, again, I don't think Jamison Crowder makes this roster.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think Jamison Crowder. Now, Lawrence Starr, hear me out, because I know you was about to say something too. You was about to talk about Luke McCaffrey, but before
he had a great ball, good hand, solid,
yes.
Boom, and he was in on a couple blocks too. I was impressed. He did what he needed to do for a little scrawny, little Luke Skywalker kind of guy,
Yeah, but what's his name? With Jamison Crowder, with us again bringing Zacchaeus in, his job is gone. His job is gone. Like you was there solely for that purpose. They bring on a younger, faster guy, better decision maker that's actually effective on the offense. So I mean, I don't know, man.
There's some battling there. There's some battling.
I think if Jamison Crowder gets cut, I don't think he signs anywhere else. I think his career might be done.
Really?
I was about you beat me too. I was about to say that if we don't keep him on our 53-man roster, I think he's done. He's gonna retire.
Pick him up. Somebody's gonna pick him up.
So one of the things that I do is, we all, several months ago, we decided to pick our rookie that we wanted to follow. And Shaq, you picked Sam Hartman.
Sam Hartman, yep.
How do you think he did?
I mean, he played well. He did. I mean, I wish he understood. He gave off a little bit of Sam Howell for a second. He had to get hit a couple times, to get touched a few times to understand.
I'm going to tell you something. He was behind the third stringers, and he showed poise in the pocket. He stepped up when needed, and he made some. That boy's got an arm. I was like, who is Hartman? And then I remember Jack talked about him. I'm like, yeah, this guy's got something going on.
Whether at Lars Sarge, hear me out. If we let him go, UFL the Birmingham has already signed him in the UFL. If we cut him, right?
Oh,
and then, that's right. They drafted him.
They drafted him, right? So not only that, if we let him walk, he is going to be on somebody's NFL roster. Sam Hartman was a dog in college, so he's going to be how he went undrafted is still beyond me.
Yeah, one of the things I was trying to research, and I don't have the answer quite yet. So if somebody's watching and you have an answer, please type it in the comments. But if you are signed to an NFL practice squad slot, can you have also a contract with the UFL? I know the UFL is in the off season, but I guess I probably answered my own question. I don't know if you have any exclusive rights on that player once they go to the UFL. I think they can sign with anybody at that point.
Good question.
It did not only that. Look, and I mean, I don't have the answer to that, but I can't say this. Sam Hartman looked better than Hooker. He looked better than Hooker, and he looked better than Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett threw all those interceptions and everything, and these are guys that were drafted.
That's right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a point there. And the thing is I don't think we're going to carry 4 quarterbacks. That's not a thing in the NFL. So there's going to be some tough decisions.
Washington needs to, because someone's going to lose a leg this year.
Well, we lose quarterbacks every year. I'm hoping that trend finishes. But Mark Sarge, your guy that you picked was Luke Skywalker there, Luke McCaffrey. How do you think he did?
For the one ball he got, I thought he did great. And then I was looking at the coaching film and trying to see, did he get out on any blocks? And not really, because he's kind of scrawny, but he's fast. So from what I saw, he was in the mix. And when his number was called, he pulled it in the first down, done, right?
Yep. Well, my guy was none other than my guy, Vincent.
He had a good
So,
game.
and he got graded out pretty well, becoming Pro Football Focus's number 3 guy with an 87.2 rating. Had some really good stats on the day. A beast of a play for a
44
pass
yards
down the middle.
Yep, 44
And
yards.
man, it took like then a half of the defense to bring him down. He was a beast mode out there.
I wish you had that play because that was probably the toughest play of the day.
He
I think
caught a
I
couple
do.
very good balls. I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, I do have some footage. This comes from the ABC show that is picking him up. I will tell you that what I've seen from them, this is going to be footage from JP Finley, and I'm going to show it here right now, and we're going to see the highlights of the game, especially some of the initial drive, and let's just see what that looks like. And then when we're done, I'd love to be able to hear you guys' comments on that.
Now, Coach Mad Mike, before you play that, right? There was some confusion in the tight end room. Like, for instance, right? We said everybody didn't dress, but I wonder why Cole Turner started over John Bates, since we're talking about tight ends.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Like, I don't know if he was banged up or a little bit or what the cause was, but like, I tell you what, I've always been a Cole Turner fan. Yeah. I've always liked him. I like his dynamic. I don't think he's the best blocker, but when it comes to route running and his just eye for the ball, I love it. And so I am fine with him moving up. You know, one of those things about training camp is, you know, you can go into there with a preconception of what you think the starting lineup should be, and it changes, right?
Yeah, I think Cole Turner is a better fit for the air raid offense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
you know, that plays his style for sure.
Yep. Hey, Coach and Shaq, Jack Miller, welcome to the channel. First time you ever commented, we appreciate it. And Jack would like to let you both know, I think me too, that we have unlimited QBs this year. so yeah,
all right, Jack, I love it.
We might carry them.
Yeah, I don't know how many are going to make the 53-man roster. Typically, it's 2. Historically, it's been 3.
2 in the practice.
I don't hear too many teams
with
carrying
our
4.
history, we need 5. We need depth.
I think if we carry a couple and we put one on the practice squad, you know, it's typically the way to go.
Especially if you got Algrady in there.
The danger of putting Sam Hartman on the practice squad is another team would be most likely to snatch him up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the scary part, right?
So I had flashes of you know, Zach in his early days. I had flashes of the best tight ends I've ever seen across the middle. He caught the ball and he's a beefy guy, right? And he busts a tackle, puts on more yak after that. And I'm like, this guy's actually really good. He's got good legs, got good sense of balance, and apparently he's got good hands. He's
a couple seconds slower than, like, I want to say Travis Kelce, you know what I'm saying, George Kittle. Like, those guys can run. Like, but he's like more like a more physical. Like, he's going to get more. He's a more physical guy. Like,
I like that.
Remember back in the day. Remember Mark Bavaro with the Giants. He wasn't the fastest guy, but he was a short catch. Like, same thing with Jay Novacek. He was a short catch, and he always got yards after the catch. You know what I'm saying? So, little old school football.
Yeah,
there you go. So, like, one of the guys I highlight on here is the guy that's number 5 on this list, and that is Alex Taylor, who we just signed last week. He kind of played later on in the game after the first team guys were out, held his own, graded out really well. Of course, you got to take that with a grain of salt because you're talking against second and third string guys. But for a guy you just take off the street when we need solid tackles, you know, he might be a player to watch is all I'm saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
If anything, up for a practice squad spot.
All right. So since you have that picture up, Coach, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How in the heck did 2 players on the same team have the same number 2? We got one number 2 on offense and one number 2 on defense.
Well, that happens in
preseason.
preseason quite a bit because what happens is you have 90 guys on the roster, and when you take all the numbers that you have that are out of circulation, whether they're retired jersey numbers and ones you just don't give out, like Art Monk's 81, things like
Sean
that.
Taylor, yeah.
Well, Sean Taylor's a retired number.
I thought I was rubbing my eyes. I was like, wait a minute.
No, it's common. So what they do is they usually say like one's like an offense is like let's say number 2 white, and then on defense it'll be like number 2 burgundy, right? So they'll do something like that. It's very common around the league because you're carrying 90 players, and there's just there's sometimes not 90 numbers in circulation.
All right.
And look, and I can tell you this right now. That should be another scary thought for De'Ami Brown. How willing they were to give Sandstrel his number.
Yeah. When they do that, you got to be like, oh, wait a minute, I must really be on the bubble. Right. But it all comes out when they bring the roster down to 53. Whatever numbers are then available after all the cuts. Players have a tendency to change their numbers and so forth. Key stars that, jerseys sell, though, obviously those won't change. 17 will be Terry McLaurin, things like that. We also know that Jaden Daniels will be number 5, right? But for some of the guys that are the third string guys that make this team, maybe some of the second string, Sandstrel might change his number, that kind of thing. That'll happen. Well, I want to get into this video. We want to be able to listen to this because the play that went to De'Ami Brown was an audible play. And there's a lot of controversy about how people saw that because you got a rookie in his first preseason action on his very first drive calling an audible.
Yep.
And so
they have confidence.
And then Quinn was like,
it worked.
Okay.
It worked. Yeah.
Well, we're going to listen to what Dan Quinn had to say. We're going to listen to what Jaden Daniels had to say. And I think it's pretty comical. So let's take a listen to this one.
Commanders rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels only played one drive. Heck, he only threw 3 passes, but there was one pass that everybody's talking about. Now, we know that Jaden Daniels checked out of a screen pass to go deep to De'Ami Brown. But was he supposed to? It's not really clear.
I thought of Top Gun. Do I have permission to buzz the tower? No Ghost Rider, pattern is full. And so I think on that one, he wanted to ask for forgiveness and not permission. And then throw an absolute dime, over the top to De'Ami to go.
That just shows the confidence that we've been talking about this whole time. And he trusts a lot of us, to even go check and make that play.
He has every right to check, right? I mean, he's our QB, and if he sees something and he checks out, that's the QB's job. I mean, right? No, he had a great read on the defense, and he checked to a play, and he threw a great ball, and we protected up great. So, it was great.
Whether you're supposed to check in and out of a play in a preseason game, that remains to be seen. But for Jaden Daniels, he saw an opportunity and took advantage.
It was a screen, but everybody's within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, so it's going to pretty much be a dead play. So I just checked it and gave my guy a chance to make a play. It's just something that throughout practice, throughout the time I've been here, that Cliff was like, hey, if you don't like this look, check it. So they came out in a certain look, and we were running a play. I didn't like it, so I just checked it.
Yeah, he did not ask for permission, so he went ahead and buzzed the tower anyway. So it was a really cool play.
So the preseason game on Saturday, that means Sunday's an off day. The Commanders back on the practice field Monday and Tuesday before traveling to Miami on Wednesday, joint practice, and then a preseason game next.
All right, well, there you go.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness!
So you know what's funny about that though? I like that he's taking command and control, but he needs to. He made the right call. Now I'm gonna tell you this: De'Ami Brown was in excellent coverage. He did not pull away from that cornerback. That was it was a well thrown ball, but that cornerback should not take any lumps for that coverage because that was excellent coverage.
I'm gonna tell you something. That was a 30% play. He was covered. He was covered like a freaking blanket. Yeah. So I give credit for the ball being put where it needed to be put. I get it. I give all the credit for it. But that play was made by De'Ami Brown.
It was.
You know what I'm saying?
It was
covered. That was highly risky.
And I tell you what, it is ballsy. I know it's preseason, but you're asking for a butt chewing if you audible on a 3rd and 6 on your only drive and that play doesn't happen.
Yep.
Now, if it was intercepted or De'Ami Brown dropped it, he would have heard it.
He would have heard it.
He would have heard it. He probably did anyway. They would things like, hey man, stop checking out the plays. We ain't in the season yet. And even in the season, you look at us and you give us a call like, hey, I'm about to change this play. You're not about to you ain't been in the game long enough to be playing like that.
Yeah. He probably got one of those "Hey Rook" speeches.
Good on him, right? Good on him. He saw a one-on-one and he took it and he put the ball where it needed to go, and De'Ami followed through. So I mean,
one of the things I found interesting though was Cliff Kingsbury. Yeah, one of the things that I found interesting is Cliff Kingsbury sounds like he actually has been conditioning him that if he needed to check, he needed to check. I want to show another video. This is Jaden Daniels' perspective on this, and I think it gives another perspective about how he's working with his offensive coordinator is a little bit different than what Dan Quinn just got through saying. So let's take a look.
Something that throughout practice, throughout the time I've been here, that Cliff was like, hey, if you don't like this look, check it. So they came out in a certain look, and we were running a play. I didn't like it, so I just checked it. It was a screen, but everybody's within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, so it's going to pretty much be a dead play.
That guy's covered.
So I just checked it and gave my guy a chance to make a play.
I'm gonna change it. That was a 10% play. That guy is covered.
He is covered. Now
he's covered big time.
And then I mean, I'm not saying that guy is a scrub that was covering him, whatever the case may be, but is he gonna be able to make plays like that against some of the best corners in the league? He will not. He will not. He would have been better off. Like as soon as he said everybody was at the line, right? As soon as he said everybody in the line, because everybody knew it was like a screen was called. I don't know why he didn't check it down to something different over the top of the linebackers. You feel what I'm saying? Safeties were going back into coverage. Cornerbacks going back into coverage. Once they send in the blitz, the middle of the field opens up. I'm surprised he didn't hit one of the tight ends across the middle of the field. Yeah. But I mean, the play worked. The play worked.
Hey, man, and you know what? Sometimes you need that stuff to work, right? That's why you have a QB and a good receiver, right? You expect on a one-on-one, when you see that coverage and you put the ball in the right place, that your receiver is going to bring it down because that's what you're paid to do, right?
Yep. And De'Ami Brown needs those kind of plays. Maybe they have a secret handshake, like, man, just throw me the ball, man. I'm trying to make the team.
Like a little hot sauce or something.
That's the reason why sometimes you stay after practice. Jane Daniels is known to be like one of the first ones in the building, one of the last ones to leave. And if you're trying to make this roster, who knows what was happening in the wee hours of the evening when everybody else is gone and those two are still out there on the field throwing the ball around.
All right, I got a question for you both from Jack. Jack's in there. He's typing us. He's listening. He's paying attention. We love it. Thank you, Jack. All right, Coach Shaq, what do you guys think about Hassan Riddick wanting to trade? Your thoughts, and should this team be interested in him?
Okay, so Coach Matt, Mike, you want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so look, this my thing with Hassan Riddick, right? So Hassan Riddick is a dog, animal, right? He is an animal, right? We need edge rushers, right? This is something that we can probably bring in for a long time. Now, the issue with bringing him in for a long contract is, do we want to pay the money for him?
Yeah.
Right now, he wants to get paid top tier dollars. The Jets ain't gonna pay. Coach Salah up there is a defensive coordinator. He's going to find somebody else to fill that position. He's a defensive guy. So it's like, if you don't want to play, I would find 3 dudes that would take your spot. So
we got the money, Shaq. We got the money.
I mean, we do have the money, right? But I mean, and he will be a good long-term piece. But I think, just like Ayuk, I think he may be pricing himself out the market. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
What do you think he wants? What do you think he wants?
I'm probably maybe 22 million a year, maybe
somewhere
in there, and 22 million a year for defensive end. Unless you Micah Parsons, buddy, you need to go and sit down.
That's pretty
And so let me give you my take on it. I completely agree with you, Shaq. And Jack, I really do appreciate the question. Good on you for asking it. I think it's not the style that Adam Peters has already kind of exposed how he's trying to build this team. he is not looking, even though we have the cap space, he's not looking to sign a big player. If he's had a lot of opportunities now to make deals and to sign guys to big name contracts, and he's passed on them. He looks like he's going after guys that he wants them to prove it first. Prove you fit. Prove that you can make plays. Prove to me that you're going to be part of this culture that he's trying to establish. And so when he's looking at veterans right now, what I get the take that he's doing is finding those guys that are hungry, that might want the big contract, but you're not going to get it signing day one. You're going to have to prove it this year, and then we'll talk next offseason about a contract.
And he's taking the Patriots route. That's what he's doing. He's taking the Patriots route.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, my bad, Lars, I didn't mean to cut you off. But if you think about it, right, what he's doing, he's bringing people in that earn their keep and stuff like that. He looked at the history of the Commanders, Redskins, football team, whatever we want to call ourselves, and what we have called ourselves. We paid a lot of money to players that didn't pan out. Dion, Albert Hansworth, Dan Wilkinson, you name it. We paid money to players that just did not pan out. You know what I'm saying? So that run is over. We have to change the culture here. We have to change. We have to change the dynamic of how we're recruiting. We have to do all of that. And right now, he's making a stance and a statement right now. Will Hassan Reddick be an excellent addition to this football team? Hell yes. And he would. Cleveland Farrell could take the back seat. Put him on special teams. Would he be an excellent addition? Hell yes. I would love to see him on this roster. But at the price he wants, man, now if we could bring him in for say a 1 year, $10 million deal, okay, and then earn your keep. Once you earn your keep, you know what I'm saying, then we'll talk long term.
And I do think that that's the style that Adam Peters is going for. Like, you need to prove it. We know what you've done in the league. That gets you in the door, but that's not, we're not going to commit a long-term deal to you until we see, we're going to try this year to find an identity for this team. And then they're gonna take those pieces that they know that they want to build around, and those are the ones that are going to offer long-term deals. This idea that we're going to take somebody off the street and give them a long-term deal, it's not going to happen. I'm just going to say it right now. It's not going to happen.
I have to say, we lost our edges. I would love to have our edges, but if they're going to spend any money, my opinion is they need to. It was offensive tackle, but now I'm massively worried about offensive guard. They need to do something there first before anything, Jack. That's my opinion.
No, Alex Reddy was supposed to be the solution there, and we see that's not. Yeah, we got issues on the line.
Yeah, and I don't. Again, like Lars said, Lars is beating that line up. Again, we need the lost tackle. I don't know why he ain't in training camp.
All right, Jack, just for you, I'm going to call him. I'm going to call him and see what he's doing. He's probably sitting on a couch somewhere drinking a beer watching us. But I will call the lost tackle and see if he wants to, he didn't quite make it. He got injured,
Yeah, but
maybe he's recovered by now.
I think Hassan Reddick would be an excellent addition. But if you think about this, right? If you think about this, why would we pay all that money to Hassan Reddick, right? When Michael Parsons may possibly be hitting the market next year.
Actually, he won't hit the market next year because he'll be there at least one more year because he has signed his 5th-year option with the Cowboys. That happened last week. And so one of the things that's interesting there is do they sign him long-term? Because now Dallas has issues after signing him because it puts them in salary cap issues where they've basically now don't have the cap space to get Dak Prescott signed unless he does some kind of hometown discount. So
CeeDee Lamb too. CeeDee
Lamb they could fit in, and apparently they've offered him a contract, but they're still far away. Yes, apparently between what they offered and what he wants. I have a feeling they probably offered him about 20 to 25 million a year, and he's looking for 30 plus.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So
I love him. He's not worth it.
So anyway, I wanted to show this because on the solo drive, it gives you a sneak preview of what they kind of were doing. Again, I don't get why we wouldn't start some of our tackles for at least the one solo drive that Jayden Daniels did. We started both of our guards. We started our center, but both tackles were backup players, as you can see here. Looking at it though, Trent Scott looked like he held his own okay. Yes. And Chris Paul, who I've always poo-pooed on in the past playing guard, actually didn't look bad at right tackle.
Didn't look bad. The hole was already.
But again, it was one drive. You're not getting beat up. You're not necessarily going against star freaking edge rushers. So, I think that this team, and the reason why I want to bring this up, and I know we've talked about it a lot, I believe this team is already in trouble when it comes to the tackle situation.
Yeah.
Already in trouble. I mean, what do you guys think? Make comments in the sections, but like we have to really scour the NFL and the free agency market, because I think if we do not bring in a player, maybe even two, this team could really struggle offensively.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm gonna tell you right now, these coming weeks, the waiver wire is going to be important. Remember, it's going to be very, very important.
Yeah,
very, very important, because they're going to be guys who's going to be getting cut. They're guys that they're just like, well, I'm not staying with this team again. The guys, like we talked about the receivers earlier, Michael Thomas, Juju Smith-Schuster, Corey Davis. These guys are cut or they on a bubble, just not signing with the teams they with. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So it's like we need to be paying attention to all the offensive linemen that are being released, especially these older guys. We could bring them in for 1 year veteran minimums. They get a chance to prove themselves to the rest of the NFL that, hey, I can still play football. A lot of those guys are still hungry. They just ain't had the opportunity. They had the opportunity to play or to show it. They thought they was automatically going to make the team. So
yeah, and I think another thing that's important to note there too is when it comes to waiver wire, we get the second overall pick on the waiver wire. So like Carolina Panthers have first dibs at somebody, but outside of that, we get the next dibs on any player that hits the wire, right? So we're in a very strong position to add talent as guys get cut, or at least bring them in and look at them, right? Mm-hmm. So
and we need to another position we need to be looking at. We need to be looking in that secondary. Stephon Gilmore still on the board. There are other guys that are still on the board. Secondary, they're still on the board that we can bring in for league veteran minimums. Because right now, I have no confidence in Emmanuel Forbes. Zero, none.
All right, so Shaq, yeah, I've been waiting to talk about this. Let's talk about Forbes. Let's talk about Forbes. And I'm going to tell you, I watched the coach's film. All right, I'm an NFL kind of guy like that. All right, I watch the coach's film. I watch that boy track that corner ball. That boy knows that they're going for the corner. He knows that. And if you watch that play down to the wire, he never turned his head.
Never once.
Never.
Listen,
he's actually a carbon copy of Sutton from the Lions, who was awful.
And now I'm gonna tell you right now, in the practice they had with the Jets, Garrett Wilson was picking on him. He did have an interception. Forbes did have an interception, right? But it was like some like off the fluke kind of stuff. But they were picking on him. Tyrod Taylor and Garrett Wilson was picking on him. They was like, "Oh, we found the weak link," and they was everything. I think he targeted Garrett Wilson like 8 or 9 times. They were picking on him.
So I know he was a first-round pick 16th overall, but not according to this regime. And I tell you what, I think our own coaching staff left him in the game a long time in the preseason opener just to see what they got in this guy, because I would not be surprised. And you called this Shaq months ago too. He might be on the bubble.
Yeah.
And he might be in that bust category.
Yes. And I'm still upset. We passed up on Christian Gonzalez. Christian Gonzalez is going to be a Pro Bowler here in the next couple of years. We passed up on him. I'm telling you, if Christian Gonzalez has a good year this year, I'm telling you, he's going to be a Pro Bowler here in the next couple of years. And we passed up on him for Emmanuel Forbes. So, and you're right. He's in that bust category. He is the guy that we need to keep an eye on. If he makes this roster, he is not going to play that much. Simply put, watch the waiver wire. Watch us go out here in the waiver wire, and we start bringing in secondary. And watch how his playing time starts dwindling. I don't think, especially the way Garrett Wilson and not Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers had played, he would have been destroyed out there. It was Tyrod
Oh,
Taylor.
absolutely.
It was
So I
Tyrod
think
Taylor.
there's 4 positions that we need to watch. You know, and one of those positions is kind of broad, but like when I think of tackle is one. You can even throw in a guard, but like offensive line is an area where we need to already be looking at who we're going to bring in. Another position is another wide receiver. We need to be looking out there for the next guy that we're going to bring in. We talked about that a little bit. Edge rusher is another area where I think it's okay to bring in another guy. We need to figure it out, not break the bank on a guy, but find the right kind of person to bring in. And then the other one's corner. And so I think when you look at that, I mean, I'm a little surprised that we're not shopping a little bit harder, but I did get wind that we are bringing guys in for a workout tomorrow, which is not unusual because Tuesday's usually got the day of the week you bring guys in for workouts. Doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be a signing, but it's important to at least know that they should be looking now that they're starting to understand what this team looks like on who potentially can they let go and who potentially they can bring in for a look.
Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm glad you talk about people coming in because they're bringing in Martavis Bryant in, right?
Yep.
So they're bringing in Martavis Bryant in for workout, right? But I'm going to tell you this right now. For a threat, this is just me personally. I would rather have a solid older Michael Thomas than Martavis Bryant. I want to have I'd rather have a solid older Robert Woods than Martavis Bryant. You feel what I'm saying?
Well, I think when it comes to Montavious Bryant, the one thing that concerns me, it's automatic red flag for me, is he hasn't played football in 4 years.
Yep.
You know, so like I want a player who's played a little bit more recently. Like I don't mind bringing him in to work him out, but you know he can't be like a serious consideration other than a camp body.
Yeah.
If you haven't played in 4 years.
And so why not bring in Michael Thomas? Michael Thomas had a good run in New Orleans, and he's looking for a change of pace. And I don't care what anybody says. Michael Thomas is still solid. He's still a force. He's a Hunter Renfro's still out there. Like there guys still out there. You know what I mean? So
Juju Smith-Schuster, there's other guys that are out there. So like you could, you know, I think then it comes down into like, are they willing to sign a 1-year deal?
Yeah, right.
I mean, Michael Thomas, Robert Woods. I think Robert Woods is like 32, 33. I think
these guys will. I'm sure.
Yeah. And Michael Thomas is 31, so they ain't got much NFL tread left on them tires, even though they're still young. They ain't got too much NFL tread left on them tires. So why wouldn't they take one last hurrah on a team that could potentially make the playoffs this year?
Yeah, new coaching, chance for them to reprove themselves, that kind of stuff. Sure, why not, right?
Yep. So I don't see why they wouldn't do it.
There's a buzz in Washington, yeah.
Yeah, so
a hot number 2 draft pick quarterback. Yeah. I mean, you know, you got a chance to do something in the division.
Yep.
So looking at this week's schedule, I mean, tomorrow is the day that they come in for practice and they're going to bring some guys in and work them out. It's going to be interesting to see in the next 24, 48 hours who gets cut, who gets signed, if anybody. And then they leave on Wednesday night to get to Miami. They've got a joint practice with the Dolphins on Thursday. And then Friday they will have off. Little walkthrough practice, kind of light stuff, and then the game's on Saturday. What do you think? I'm going to start with you on this one, Large Sarge. What are you looking for in preseason week 2? What would you like to see happen?
Well, first of all, we've got to get our starting offensive line in because we really have to see what we're working with. If that offensive line doesn't do an entire quarter, not just a series, but a quarter, so we see what kind of protection Daniels has, I think there's some serious issues at the coaching level, right? The second is we need a W. I know it's preseason, but we need a W. We need to get some motivation into this team with a win. Even if it's a scrappy, sloppy win, we need a win.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Shaq, how about you? What are you looking for on this
game? Push Miami.
Yes. And okay, so okay. So again, like I agree with Lars Sarge, the offensive line. I want to see what the real offensive line is going to look like protecting Jaden Daniels. I do want to see that. I completely agree with Lars Sarge on that. Also, I want to see Emmanuel Forbes against a number one receiver. And he's gonna have a couple of them in this game. He's gonna have Tyreek Hill and who's on the other side? I forgot who's on the other side, but he's gonna have a team with two number one receivers
and tags on the ball. Oh yeah.
So I want to see that. I want to see how our defensive ends hold up against a solid offensive line. I want to see how they hold up. All right. So those are gonna be my things to watch. I believe the offensive line. I'm not even gonna say the whole secondary. Just Emmanuel Forbes, not the whole secondary. Just him. I want to see how he holds up against.
So they also have Odell Beckham Jr. and they also have Jalen Waddle.
Okay, so there you go. Jalen Waddle
and Beckham just made Miami's offense. Trust me. Tag has got targets now.
Yes, and then not only that, with Emmanuel Forbes being a first round draft pick, I hate to keep beating this kid up, but with him being a first round draft pick, right? We expect him to come and make an immediate impact. But in the game next week, we can't put him on Tyreek Hill. We can't put him on Jalen Waddle. He's gonna be the guy covering Odell Beckham, an older, slower, less physical Odell Beckham, because we can't trust him to we can't trust him to cover anyone else.
Who's Sanders still going to cover?
And truth be told, he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be sitting over top on Tyreek Hill.
Oh, that is going to be something to watch.
Yeah, if you think about it,
it might be a rookie kind of thing. So, so one of the things that I think is going to be interesting for this particular game that I'm going to be looking for is I expect the starters to be playing the entire first half, not a quarter, not a series. I'm going to take what Lars Sarge says and take it a step further. I expect the starters to play for an entire half, if not even into the third quarter.
They're not going to do it.
And here's why I say they need to do this. This is the dress rehearsal game. This happens. This happens around the league, and it needs to happen for this team. Because what's going to happen for this one, and I'm going to start with defense because I'm a defensive-minded guy. Bobby Wagner needs to get into the game with Frankie Lavu, and they need to start getting the play signals down, making the adjustments, doing that kind of thing, seeing what this defense looks like. Because there's a lot of new faces. You got new edge rushers, a whole new linebacker core. There's a lot of question marks in the secondary. And so what I want to see them is I want to see them run a number of series where they're doing that. Then if you like what you see, you can pull them out a little bit earlier. If you don't and they need more time, you haven't played the entire first half. And because they're not going to play at all for a couple weeks after that. They're not going to play in the third preseason game. And then you always have the fourth week, which is cut week. So before you get to the first preseason game. So like this is the only opportunity for these guys, first team reps, against an opponent. And I think those reps are vitally important for this defense to gel.
I think they got
the next thing I'm going to look for is offensively. I'm looking for a similar thing. I want Jaden Daniels to play a half, not a honeymoon. Hey, you had a really good first drive. I want to see you manage an entire half. I want to see what the starting lineup, like Lars Sarge says, what's in there, which means your tackles need to be in the game. Coleman, from what I understand, is either day-to-day or week-to-week, which is very, very concerning. So it looks like Cornelius Lucas will probably start at left tackle, and Andrew Wiley will play at right tackle. We need to see what they look like. We know what they look like, but we need to see how they gel with the rest of the guards that they have in there. Cosme did not look as well as I thought he would look in the one series for how highly he's rated. He needs to show up and show up strong. And then I want to see what the running game looks like. You're going to have to stretch out Eckler. You're going to have to stretch out.
I said, hey, Coach Matt Mike, I said that. I looking at the game, that's what I said. The coaching. I said this at the beginning of the show. The coaching, the air raid offense it was 70% pass, 30% run, and then there wasn't real flashy runs. It was just little short ground and pound stuff, whatever the case may be.
Well,
There
they're
was
going
no
with a
real.
single back check. They're going with just like my Lions got rid of a fullback. I do not like the way they configured the offense. I think there should be a fullback in the game.
Well, I will tell you, when it comes to Washington, John Bates is supposed to be that fullback kind of guy. When they line him up like that, we'll see, because that was the previous regime. I don't know how the current regime is going to do it, but I know John Bates can fulfill that role,
Especially
in
with
those
the
kind of
O-line
short
question.
situations.
With
Some
the
people were
O-line
even
question.
saying that you could put Brian Robinson in that thing to lead the way for Austin Eckler.
For
We'll
Eckler,
see.
yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
But the other thing I want to see is Zach Ertz actually play, because if he doesn't really show like he still has it, Benson could like freaking overtake him right away.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
That might happen.
My thing is with the first team offense. I'm glad you brought that up. But with the first team offense, B-Rob, and why wasn't he there? And also, Eckler took all the first team reps. So like, what's going on with that? Like when you have a dual-headed monster like that. But again, it's the air raid offense, and that kind of concerns me for B-Rob, because he's not gonna get the touches I feel like he deserves and stuff like that, because the man is a bruiser. Yeah. So with the air raid offense, Eckler is gonna be the guy. B-Rob is gonna be there for short yardage, goal lines, stuff like that, short yardage plays, stuff like that. And I think he's gonna be a waste of talent. Yeah. So,
well, we'll see what they do. I mean, I kind of agree with you, and that's the reason why I'm very interested in how this next week is going to go. We'll probably hear some sound bites out of practice, the joint practice on Thursday, because things will get leaked out about how well that's going, but I'm very interested in watching this game. And I think it will be an epic coaching failure, in my opinion. If you do not have your first team starting offense, your first team starting defense play the entire first half. If you're bubble wrapping and playing too conservative with these guys, you are not preparing them for
Coach Mad Mike, they're going to play one quarter and that's it.
No,
they got way too much decision making to do with everyone else. You watch one quarter.
I'm leaning towards Lars Sarge.
All right, we'll see. I will find that to be a large failure if that's the case.
Coach, I'm coming to see you in September. We're going diving, and I'm putting a beer on this bet for the Miami game. One quarter. I lose the bet, I owe you another beer, which is 3 now.
Okay. I'm going to get drunk off your money. All right, so
I will buy you a beer at the Giants game.
Woo! You guys got a deal. So, all right. I say that they go the first half, just because I'm telling you, if I was in their shoes, I'd make them play. Because again, they're not going to play again. I'm going to tell you right now, they will not play again after this next week until week 1.
Really? You don't think so? You don't think they'll get a series each game? At least?
No. The third preseason game, they will not sniff the field. So that is the time where you got to figure out what's in the back half of your roster, and you got a lot of people to evaluate. Not to mention you're trying to evaluate who might make your practice squad, and you're even trying to put film on guys that maybe you can kind of move and make sure they get jobs.
Interesting.
This is the week, and so I'm saying, like, if they don't play at least the first half, it's a coaching failure in my opinion.
Okay. Well, I mean, we do got
and
I like beer money. So I will take your beer money.
We got like 10, 12 people on here. What do you all say out there? We want to hear what you have to say. Will the coaching staff of the Commanders have everyone the starters play a half or just the first quarter? What are your votes? Give us some votes on this.
Yeah, give us some votes, people.
I'm
going to tell you right now, man.
The first quarter.
If y'all don't vote for me, y'all are wrong. It's election year. Vote for me or you're wrong.
Coach is too political. I'm just telling you, I think they're scared.
Vote
and I
for
don't
Coach
think they're going to
Mike.
put their guys in for that long.
You don't know what you're talking about.
I don't, and then you got to think about the coaches we got. We got Dan Quinn, and then we got, which is a defensive guy, and then we have Kingsbury. They can't coach they didn't have a real successful college coaching career. it tanked in Arizona. You know what I'm saying? And like how we got that job in Arizona is beyond me. So no, I just don't see it. I don't see it.
Jack says half a game.
Jack.
He's down in Miami too there, Coach Mad Mike. So
he's a real analyst. Like you. So like
we got a Florida fan. Woo!
I know people in Florida are smart.
They're sunburned. They got sunburn on their heads.
Whatever, dude. We're smart for living here.
Florida,
man. How it goes.
Jack, I'm in Northwest Florida too. These guys are Virginia guys. They don't know anything.
Oh, boy.
You can be a Commander/Redskins fan, be smart enough to move out of the DMV.
Oh man, I'm
ready to get out of here. Back and look at what Dan did with the Cowboys to see if he played his guys the entire half on the second game, just to see how his brain works.
He's not that smart.
You're gonna have to make me go back to my NFL film. My film
no, I will tell you, but I do want to see multiple series, both offensively and defensively, and I want them to shake it out. In the second half, I really want them to go deep in the depth chart. I will tell you, for a guy like Emmanuel Forbes, I will play him as long as I would need to play him until I make up my mind about him.
Yep.
He might not even play in the third preseason game if he stinks it up.
He obviously needs the game time.
The reps. He needs the reps.
He needs the reps. But if he fails epically in that game, he might not even suit up for the third preseason game. He might be already.
But you might as well change your name to Sutton. You're done, dude. I'm sorry. You're done.
And my thing is, the team wants to. I know the coaching staff wants to believe in him, but it's just like him talking about it, all the things he's been doing to improve. It's just not translating on the field. So again, he's going to get real tests this week. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle,
you gotta believe that Miami, when they line up and they see whoever he's covering, the ball's going there.
You think Miami's going to play their starters for the entire half?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I don't either.
No.
I think it's an NFL trend that NFL teams preseason game 2. It's used to be the old preseason game 3 when you had 4 games. It is the dress rehearsal game. You'll see teams that will do not only the first half, but they'll come out after halftime and maybe do a series just so they can run through their halftime routine.
That's a point.
And everything.
Well, you got to think about this.
It could go that way, but don't be surprised if you don't see them even go into the first series of the third quarter.
Okay, so this is my thing right here with Miami. You know why I'm saying no? Because Miami already has a nucleus. They have the quarterback. They have the receivers. They have the line. They have the defense. They don't have nothing to prove. We're the team that's rebuilding and try to piece things together. So
that's true. So I would be less shocked if they go a quarter and a half, but like they might be interested in certain matchups where they might play them a little bit longer. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But for us, we need the gel time.
We need it. But why would you take the chance?
I'm writing this down.
My thing is, why would you take the chance of hurting already injury-prone Tua Tagovailoa?
That's true.
Why would you take that chance? He's injury-prone.
So maybe you do a quarter with him if you like what you see. Like if he comes out and he's balling, and you're like, okay, he looks good. Yeah, okay, I could see how you let him go after a quarter. Or
they're going to stretch Beckham's legs. They're going to stretch Hill's legs, and then that's going to be it.
Yeah, that's it.
And you that could be the case. I will tell you that's not the tendency in the NFL since we've gone to the 3-game preseason thing. The tendency in the NFL is to play them a half. So I'm going to stick to that. Now, whether a team deviates from that, they can do whatever they want, right? If Miami wants to let them go early, let them go early. But guess who you're going to go up against? You're going to go up against the first-team guys probably the first half against Washington because, again, I think it's vital for the Commanders to play a half just because this team needs to gel. And this is your only opportunity to go up against competition other than yourself before week 1. So I think it's extremely important. Now, that's my point. Now, whether they do it or not will determine whether or not I'm buying all beer or not. But, to me, I think it's important.
All right. Well, there's an ugly elephant in the room, and Coach, I don't know what you prepared, but the ugly elephant is: did any of you guys watch the Dallas game?
I didn't watch it.
Nope.
I missed it. I missed it. I know they lost
This is
it.
my prediction. The Giants look good. Philly looked insane.
Whoa,
and the
wait a
Cowboys
minute.
looked lost in the sauce.
Wait a minute. You said the Giants look good?
Yes, they did.
How drunk were you?
I only had 2 whiskeys. I wasn't even feeling nothing. They look good. They had depth.
The Giants are looking good don't belong in the same sentence. I'm sorry.
Well, you wouldn't think so, but I'll tell you something. They look better than Dallas. Now, again, Coach, I know it's the first game of the preseason. You're not going to have all those things. You shouldn't bet anything. I'm just going to tell you. Everything you've talked to us about, everything you've told us about what's happening in Dallas is coming true.
Yeah, I believe that a lot of it's going to come true. But again, we
can't not
really
talk
cool.
about our nemesis.
You
our
can't make a judgment off of
Damn
preseason
right.
game 1, right? Where starters play like a series and they're out, right?
Yeah.
You can't make a judgment off of that. Plus, they're playing very vanilla. They're not really game planning. There's a lot of things that are just like all over the place. So you got to be very cautious about drawing too many conclusions off of a preseason week 1 game, right?
All true.
I still think it's gonna be a battle with a basement between them and the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, I think the Cowboys will beat them just because they still have Dak, they still got CeeDee Lamb, they still got Micah Parsons, but I think the pecking order is kind of clear in our division.
Yeah.
I think it's Eagles, Washington, friggin' Cowboys, and then Giants.
I'm not moving off our analysis. It's definitely going to be I'm going to tell you something. Let's see how it goes, right? But the Skids are 1 or 2. Excuse me, the Commanders are 1 or 2.
I don't know, man.
It just depends on what happens with the O-line.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now.
They got talent everywhere else.
We do, but I'm gonna tell you right now. The Eagles are gonna be sturdy this year. I mean, if this is one of those, this can be. I feel like this can be one of those make or break years for Sirianni. Because they've been winning. If he has a slump this year, I think he may be on the hot seat the next year. You know what I mean?
Course,
so
right? Agreed.
Of course.
Agreed.
So,
but I actually don't think that they're that they have anything to like be overly concerned about. I think they have the division wrapped up already. I mean, it's their division to lose, right?
Yes.
We'll make a case, but this isn't going to be our year. Let's be honest. It's not going to be our year. If we sneak into the playoffs, it's going to be because a lot of things have to go right in order for that to happen. But this is the Eagles' division to lose.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm still calling 9 games, Coach. I'm calling 9 games. I know we said 8.
I say 8.
I'm calling 9.
I say 8, and I'm trying to change your tune, Large Sarge, because I remember there was earlier in this thing that you guys were getting also squirmy when I said 8, and everybody else was saying 7.
I say
so
8.
like
8 and 9.
I'm sticking to 8, doubling our record from last year, and I would be happy with that season. Now, if we get a 9th win, I'm not going to turn it down because now we're talking playoffs. But this team's not going to go far. Let's be real. But it will give us an opportunity to see what this coaching staff is all about. It will give us a chance to see who are our keepers and who are people we need to get rid of. And next year should be very, very interesting.
Well, and now I still have questions about that because Dan Quinn had 2 good seasons back to back in ever.
Now that is an outstanding.
Then depending on how Kingsbury offense performs this year, he may be looking at a head coach position next year.
And Quinn always has a good first year. So
he does. Again, same thing with Joe Witt. Our opportunities would be knocking on his door next year for head coach's positions.
I think Joe Witt's probably too junior. But like, I think you're right about clean. You know, Joe Witt hasn't been a coordinator before, so he needs to have a couple years coordinator under his belt. I think, you know, if he shows solid here, he can have a job here for the next few years.
Coach Mad Mike,
which would be great for him.
Dayball's a special teams guy, ain't he? Dayball's a special teams guy.
That's
So
true.
what you mean?
I'm just saying, gentlemen. I'm just saying, 8 games should be a lot. I mean, if they don't make 8 games, then this whole exercise was a bust, right?
Yep.
There should be 8 games. If we have luck fall on our side, like the Lions did last year, the Lions weren't worth the record they had, seriously, especially with a meathead for a coach. But
He's still
luck
a meathead.
on their side, after all these years, luck went their way when they needed it, right? So if we have luck fall on our side this year, there is absolutely the chance for 9 games.
Well, I can tell you.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
A lot of things got to go right, but like I agree. But like, I think it's a lower probability. But
I mean, you're
I
probably
think 8's very doable. Like I said, I'll take 9. But
I think
with Old Crow whiskey. What am I supposed to say? You're a coach, you know.
yeah. Well, what's the name? Lawrence, this my thing with Detroit this year. Detroit has to play with arrogance this year, anger and arrogance, because they should have went further along than what they did. They need to play with anger and arrogance, and they.
So I'm just going to tell everyone out there is a short coming up from me about this first preseason game and Dan. That's all I'm going to say. But you need to watch it when it comes out because it's not pretty, and the Lions are not going to have as good a season as I would hope that they would. And everyone knows that's my team. This is my number 2, Browns and whatever number. It's not with a meathead.
So do you think it's the with him?
Coaching.
Your coach is the Mike Singletary effect. Remember the Mike Singletary effect when he was the coach and he was like, I'm not going to call any plays. You're going to go play good football.
Yes, 110% single. Thank you, Shaq. Thank you.
he has the meathead approach.
I know we're not supposed to talk about my Lions. It's not the NFL show. That's Friday, folks. Tune in Friday. All right.
Yeah, and we don't live stream on Friday. We might be going to that soon. You know, if you guys want that, you got to put it in the comments section. But like right now, it's pre-recorded, and we post it really on Saturday morning. We film it Friday night and post it Saturday morning. But
all I'm saying is the Commanders have momentum. They have excitement. They have some issues. Every team has issues, but they have the right. They're in a position to score a lot of points. Yeah. And if they score a lot of points, that might make up for the holes they have on D still, right? Yeah. If they score more, they were in a lot of games last year they shouldn't have ever been in. They were in both games with Philly. They shouldn't have been in at all, and they were in the games, right? They were in the game with the Jets. There were 3 or 4 games that they could have won if they didn't get rid of bookend tight ends, right? If they had a pass rush.
Yeah, and I tell you, I agree with you, Lord Sarge, but I'm going to tell you what this team needs to do is, I believe that they need to start off strong.
Yes.
Week 1. We go up against Tampa Bay. I'm going to be in Tampa for that game. I believe that they have to start off strong, which, again, I'm going to bring it back to my point for next week because I kind of want to hammer this home. I think that they need significant playing time to gel as a unit. And so I want to see them do that. And I want to see them really look solid, look like they're gelling as a unit. And then that way I can bubble wrap them for a couple of weeks and get them ready for week 1 when they go to Tampa. I'm going to be there for that game. And then I come back to the DC area. I'll be with you guys as we take on the Giants. I want to see us start off with a very, very good, strong start so we can have momentum, we can have excitement. And it's not like, oh crap, we got problems, because it can go really well or really, really south really, really quick.
I'm gonna be out there with my F the Giants shirt on.
So Coach Mad Mike, listen, Jack Miller down in Miami is going to be at the game. So Jack, you need to get on the site and post a comment so you and Coach Mad Mike can hook up and at least shake a hand, because we got a new fan. We appreciate you coming to the show tonight and talking on the channel. A+ for you, Jack. But you got a chance to meet Coach Mad Mike in person down at the game. So
let's do it.
Yeah, very, very humble guy.
Yeah, I would love to be able to meet Jack. That'd be good because I'll be at the game. So I will tell you.
Did we just say we all 3 of us got a date for the Giants Commanders game?
Yes. And
let's do it.
Jack, I'm bringing the cooler. I'm bringing the cooler, man.
We can pregame in my place. I live right by the stadium.
I might bring the sleeping bags, the cooler, and I might bring the lost tackle.
Oh, yeah.
He might show up at the game.
At the game, suited up. I'm not even on the roster, but suited up.
Oh, dear Lord, we need to get tickets. And I think prices just doubled this year, didn't they? Something like that, something crazy up here.
Now, if they start having a losing season, they go back to $20.
All right, I put my email in the comments section, so any fan can email me anytime you want. But Jack, email me, and we will try to link up in Tampa. I think that'd be totally awesome. I'll give you my contact information. We'll try to make that happen. And for this particular game, hey, I'm really looking forward to it. We are going to be filming next Monday to give you all the latest and greatest of what happened from Miami and the dress rehearsal game, where I expect the Commanders to play the whole first half and I fully expect these two guys to owe me beer. And whether I drink it or not, they're going to owe it to me.
No beer for you.
Yeah, it's going to happen. For you. And then I'll tell you what, let me hear it, Shaq. What do you got? What do you think's going to, what are you looking forward to this week? And what are your parting comments, my friend?
So, of course, y'all know me, Shaq Only Hails, good old Shaq. Man, make sure y'all tune into the Journey of a Jackass podcast. That's
Journey of a Jackass.
If you want to come and laugh, don't worry about it. I got the jokes for you. Okay? Now.
Hey, guys, please check his show out. It is hilarious. You're going to want to tune into it. Every last one of you, whether you're watching this live or you're watching it later, get over to his channel, check it out, subscribe it, comment to him. You're going to want to be part of his show.
Now, my parting words is this. I firmly believe that they're only going to play the first quarter. Maybe. Let's start there.
Catch them all, Shaq. Go, Shaq.
They're only going to play in the first quarter. But not only that, again, Emmanuel Foles will be something to watch. The offensive line will be something to watch. And I want to see how effective this first team offense is against a first team defense.
Absolutely.
So those will be my 3 things to watch this year. This week. For sure.
All right, what are your 3 things you're going to look for at large?
I'm right with him. But you know what? You know what I want? Seriously, what I want? I'm feeling the force, Luke. Get your ass in the game. I want to see you catch some more balls, Luke. Get in there, Luke. The force is with you.
Yes.
Go, Luke.
All right, the 3 things I'm going to look for as we wrap it up is I want to see this defense. I want to see them gel. I want to see all the starters on the field. I think they're going to play the half. We're going to see, but I want to see them. I want to see Bobby Wagner orchestrating this defense, doing the defensive play calling, relaying those calls in, trying to get his team motivated, trying to get them hyped up. I want to see them try to make some plays, show some aggressiveness. I want to see that defensively. Offensively, what I want to see is I want to see a run game. I want to see Austin Eckler with some carries. I want to see Brian Robinson with some carries. The next thing I want to see is I want to see what some of this receiving pattern and who steps up on the receiving core. Who does it? Does De'Ami Brown show another sign he's going to do that? I want to see Terry McLaurin get more than one pass. I want to see more Ben Sinnott. I want to see Luke McCaffrey, as mentioned. I want to see all these guys. I want to see them starting to rotate in, and I want to see who's going to step up.
I got one more for you, Coach Man Mike.
Go for it.
One more person I'm going to pay attention to this week, Jamin Davis. I'm going to pay attention to him. I'm going to pay attention to him this week, too.
Do they line him up like a Micah Parsons kind of thing, as an edge rusher kind of thing, or do they put him more as a backup Mike or outside linebacker? It's going to be interesting how he plays and how many reps does he get in the game.
Now, this one of the games where we may see him well into the third quarter.
Yep.
Way well into the third quarter. Yeah.
All right. Well, there you guys have it. Thank you so much for everybody who's tuned in for it. For those who are not watching it live, consider watching it live next week. Because as you can tell by the show this week, We interact with those who actually type in their comments. Thanks, Jack, for your comments. We had a few other people make comments we didn't get to. We will try to get to all your comments later. Jim Shahan was on there. We had quite a few other people that were on there that we didn't quite get to.
We had Lisa, we had Turbo, we had Ginger, we had Jack, we had Jim, and all the people didn't type anything.
Yeah, well, we also had Lisa Simmons who chimed in. Don't think we've had the pleasure of meeting you yet, but anybody, and if you're part of Journey of a Jackass and you tuned in, write some comments next time.
Let's go.
Jack wants to interact with you here too. All right, guys. This is Football Psych, and we are out of here. Peace.
Yeah.